My name is Corey Buckner. I am the LGBTQIA+ Advisory Council Coordinator for the Mayor's Office. I'm also the manager for the Office of Community Affairs, and I'm really happy to have you all here today. We have some really exciting news for the city of Pittsburgh, and frankly, for our entire region. We have some special guests with us today, but we're going to start it off with Vanessa Gilman, who is a local artist, activist, who's based out of Homewood and does a lot of great work in our community. She's going to come up and give a few words, some spoken word.
My name is Vanessa Gilman. I am a proud Homewood resident. I am a proud Black, gay, feminist, womanist, environmentalist, humanitarian, speaking the truth. And I am deeply honored to be on this stage today and to be introduced by one of the great citizens of our community, somebody who has the human commitment and the political will to show up to work every day to create safe spaces for where human beings can be as dimensionally human as they have the courage to be. And I'm an artist. I believe in the power of art, and I believe in the power of love, which means I believe in the power of how we are all here together. We earthling human beings, we creatures of carbon, starshine, and glow, we human beings are 99 to 99.9% genetically identical, which means we are kin. To the person next to you and say, hello, relative. I believe in the power of this truth. I believe in the power of how we are all human here together. I believe that the future belongs to those human beings who can move with the love, the human commitment, and the political will to live inside the power of this truth. Because it takes courage. And yes, all of this work, all of the presence that is here today, it is love. Do not confuse yourself with the truth that love is as flimsy as lip gloss or a new pair of tennis shoes, because it isn't. It is love, it is courage, human commitment, and political will. And we all know that justice is just love in action. It is the truth. This is a great loving work that we celebrate here today. I believe that the future belongs to those who can live inside of the power of this truth. I believe that the future belongs to those who have the courage to make space for all human beings to be creatively, safely as human as they have the courage to be. And with that, I will say to you, rise as in the sun. Get up from whence you was, and come on, move forward. Intend to live inside the power of your own human spark and refuse to waste the 0.01% that makes you magically, humanly, powerfully you. When you go to work and activate that 0.01%, you have days like this, where you can celebrate, where you can honor that you have made the world a place where I don't have to worry about white men and pickup trucks trying to run me over in intersections, where I don't worry about holding my girlfriend's hand on the city bus when I'm going to a Pirates game. You can celebrate that you have made the world a place where we can be safely and generatively as human as we have the power to be, and this is the work of love. So I celebrate all of the people who went to all the meetings that it took to make this happen. you just gotta just shout out the sacrifice that it takes to sometimes be present in the room and doing the hard work. We honor and we celebrate all of those people, and we celebrate the people out in the Pittsburgh community who will be able to stand up a little taller today, who will be inspired by this today, and who will refuse to hide, refuse shame, and to stand in the light and the love and the courage of their own humanity today. I celebrate that with deep truth, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. I'd actually like to ask all the speakers to come up stage so that you can get a better look at them.
Fashion show.
And, you know, like Vanessa had mentioned, allies are extremely important to our community. And I'm proud to introduce one of our biggest allies at City Council. Unfortunately, our other councilman, Bruce Kraus, has been busy for the day, taking care of some personal business, but we do have Councilman Dan Gilman with us, who most recently is the sponsor of the bill where we banned conversion therapy on youth. So, thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Corey. I was just joking with Corey. I used to think he liked me, and then I saw he put me speaking after Vanessa. So clearly, you don't, that always an amazing, amazing speaker to follow. I stand here incredibly proud to be surrounded by such incredible people, both behind me and in front of me, and recognize, number one, that we stand on the shoulders of giants. That this did not happen this week, this did not happen this year, this did not happen in the last 10 years. This is decades and decades and decades of people fighting and struggling for basic human rights. And if it weren't for people who fought at an even harder time to fight, who are willing to stand up in meetings and in neighborhoods and in government to talk about justice and fairness and equality for all, we would not be here today celebrating a moment like this. And also, let us recognize that as incredible as today's announcement is, and what a great statement it is for this city and this region, this does not mean we're perfect. We are far from perfect. There are children in corners of this city still being forced into conversion therapy. There are men and women walking the streets, holding their lover's hand, being taunted and threatened. There are businesses in this city firing employees because of who they love. And we live in a state and in a country that is saying that's okay. So take a moment and celebrate. Take a moment and thank the people that are around you for the fight, but do not think this is the end or anywhere close to it. Each of us are a piece of this puzzle. And I'm proud that I was able to work with my colleague, Councilman Kraus, and gain the support of all of City Council, and Councilman Corey O'Connor is here with us to support this ban, to say that conversion therapy is not therapy, it is child abuse. And we will not stand for child abuse in the city of Pittsburgh.
Tell it.
Thanks, Dan. It also brings great honor that we have the highest official from the Human Rights Campaign here with us today. I'd like to introduce to you all Chad Griffin, who is the president of the Human Rights Campaign.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Corey, for that kind introduction. Give it up again for Vanessa, by the way. What an amazing performance and remarks. Yeah, pity on all of us who have to follow that. I'm going to mention some of our public leaders here in just a moment, but I want to thank the activist groups that are our partners in this work. Our critical partners with the Human Rights Campaign are the Equality Federation, and here in this state, Equality Pennsylvania, and I know a number of the board members and folks are here on stage and in the audience. I also just want to acknowledge from the HRC team, we have a number of folks in the room, but I want to particularly point out Ciora Thomas, who's HRC's legal director, and her team leads this effort with the Municipal Equality Index. Ciora Thomas. Also with us As we expand our work in cities and in states all across this country, particularly with what we're facing, the onslaught of attacks in Washington with this administration, Jeff Witrowski is here with us, who's HRC's new campaign director and leading our expansion into 6 key critical states, including the great state of Pennsylvania. Jeff. At this very moment, so much of our progress is under attack. In our nation's capital and in state legislatures across the country, anti-equality politicians have been emboldened by a political climate where hate and where discrimination have entered the mainstream. In fact, given license to hate from this White House. In many cases, from the White House to the State House, they're attempting to rip away decades of progress, and they're using the lives of LGBTQ people and our families for their own cynical political gain. But at a time when it would be easy to grow weary and complacent, cities and towns all across this country are standing up boldly and leading the way forward when it comes to equality. During a year in which more than 130 anti-LGBTQ bills were introduced across 30 states, it's vitally important that these cities like Pittsburgh, are stepping up to provide crucial common sense protections for your LGBTQ residents and visitors. The Municipal Equality Index is the nationwide gold standard when it comes to measuring LGBTQ inclusion in municipal law, policy, and services. And the 2017 MEI paints a clear and vivid picture. Cities big and small, in red, blue, and purple states alike, are continuing our progress towards full equality regardless of the hateful attacks and rollbacks unfolding in Washington and in some state houses across this country. And that's certainly the case here in Pittsburgh. For the first time, Pittsburgh is one of 68 cities across the country to earn a perfect score for advancing LGBTQ inclusive policies. Pittsburgh has also achieved the Municipal Equality Index's all-star city status for its high score despite the absence of an inclusive statewide non-discrimination protection. So we are honored that you are at the top of this list, Pittsburgh. This city is sending a powerful message to every LGBTQ person, especially to our young people, who often fear rejection and who often face bullying simply because of who they are and who they love. Pittsburgh is sending a profound message that all are welcome and all are protected. This is only made possible with true leadership. I said this to the mayor earlier. It takes folks at all levels. It takes the grassroots, it takes a city council, and it takes a mayor to come together, to do the hard work that it takes to move a city forward, and you have done that. I just want to acknowledge Mayor Peduto for your leadership and for Councilman Gilman and other council members for being such incredible partners in this fight. I also want to acknowledge Pennsylvania's Acting Secretary of Health and Physician General, Dr. Rachel Levine. And again, just acknowledge all of those on the stage and the many staff who work truly day in and day out to make this day possible. I also, after coming here from Washington this morning, just want to acknowledge how lucky Pennsylvania is to have a pro-equality champion like Senator Bob Casey leading the fight with us in Washington, D.C. All of you are helping to send the message that Pittsburgh, that this city is open for business. Today, the MEI serves as a vital tool for business leaders and for municipal officials when it comes to economic development. As businesses look for expansion and relocation opportunities, it has become standard practice to prioritize inclusive communities that value diversity. CEOs know that in order to attract and retain the best employees, they must grow their companies in places that protect LGBTQ people from discrimination and that open their doors to all of our communities. The MEI is the best tool to help these companies make crucial evaluations to determine which of American cities are welcoming and which are unwelcoming. Across the country, we see municipalities that want to spur development and improve the lives of their LGBTQ residents and visitors by embracing inclusive policies that protect fundamental rights for all. But we also see some municipalities and some states that pay a real price by not protecting everyone equally, or in the state of North Carolina's case, outright banning common sense civil rights protections. But Pittsburgh, you are leading the way. And HRC is so proud to work alongside you and the leaders of this city and the advocates here in this city and across the state to ensure that diversity and inclusion continue to be a priority for this city and others around this state. Thank you all very much for your leadership and for being here today.
Most of this wouldn't happen if we didn't have a progressive city council and a progressive mayor. I just want to take a quick moment personally to thank our mayor for allowing me to take on a lot of these initiatives for our city. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce to you all Mayor Peduto.
Well, with that, Corey, home run.
All right.
I just want to echo what Councilman Gilman was saying a moment ago. This isn't the end. This is the beginning. But I want to make something absolutely crystal clear. Where we are today, we're not giving up 1 inch. In fact, we will go to court, we will fight, we will demand that the constitutional rights of every individual in this city will be protected, and we will work to eradicate discrimination in all of its forms. We will only go forward from this and strengthen those rights even further, despite what Washington may try to do and despite what Harrisburg does. I've had the honor of working in city government for 23 years of my life. I know what today represents. Today represents the work of people going back decades, the work of courageous people who are willing to stand up in the face of great adversity, the work of people who had nobody behind them at the time, no elected official with courage to be able to stand with them, nobody supporting them, but they kept fighting for what was right for people. We stand here today because of that work, and we accept this recognition of where we are today only because of those that sacrificed before. And to everybody standing behind me, to everybody standing in front of me, all I can say is thank you. On behalf of the people of Pittsburgh, thank you for your courage. I also want to recognize Liz, who's here from Senator Casey's office, Aaron, who's here from Governor Wolf's office. Again, without allies at state and federal level, something like this does not happen. I'm welcoming all here today, including HRC President Chad Griffin and Physician General Rachel Levine, for coming to Pittsburgh on this special day. First off, we're thrilled that HRC has given Pittsburgh a 100% grade in the Equality Index, which is something our administration has been working on diligently for the last 4 years. Thanks to Cory Buckner and everyone on Pittsburgh's LGBTQIA+ Advisory Council, not only for their help, but for their guidance and practical ways to be able to make this happen. And also to Council members Kraus, Gilman, and all of City Council for their courageous vote as well. But I'm here to deliver even more great news on this day. Pittsburgh is now offering full gender affirmation benefits to all employees and their dependents who are enrolled in the city's medical plans. For several years now, the city has offered mental health and hormonal therapy. We are now offering coverage for surgical treatments for gender affirmation. These benefits will be available to all union and non-union employees and their dependents who are enrolled in our health plans, and the City Personnel Department has been working hard on this for years, and it's my pleasure to announce this today as well. It's very important to note, it's not only that Pittsburgh ranked 100 in this report, but it's also important to note that in the United States, the average score is 57. We have much, much work to do, and we in Pittsburgh need to be the example and the leadership to show the rest of this state and the rest of this country how it can be done right. There's only 2 cities in all of Pennsylvania that score 100, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. And I'm calling out to the mayors across this state. We are here to help you. We are here to help your borough, your township, your village, your city, to be able to recognize the rights of all of your people.
I almost knocked it out of the park. We can't forget about Allentown, PA. They also scored at 100%, and that has to do with me forgetting to add them, so I'm sorry. Allentown, yeah. So it gives me also pleasure to bring up Dr. Rachel Levine. As mentioned before, she's the Physician General and also our Acting Secretary of Health. And she's also leading up Governor Tom Wolf's LGBTQ working group. Dr. Rachel Levine. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you, Mayor Peduto. And I'd really like to offer from Governor Wolf and the Wolf administration our congratulations to you, to the City Council, and this great city of Pittsburgh on this outstanding achievement. And I would particularly like to thank you in terms of offering coverage for gender affirmation treatment. So thank you for the introduction. I am Dr. Rachel Levine. I'm the Acting Secretary of Health for Pennsylvania. I am the Physician General for Pennsylvania, and I am an openly transgender woman. I am very pleased and proud to be serving in Governor Wolf's cabinet. We have a very firm ally and supporter in Governor Wolf and the administration. Just approximately 1 year ago, Governor Wolf signed 2 executive orders to protect LGBTQ employees and contractors in the administration. As was mentioned, under the governor's leadership, we have a very active LGBTQ work group, which I am very proud to chair under the auspices of the governor's policy office. We also have really every agency, the whole alphabet soup of agencies that are participating in the work group. We have active stakeholders such as Equality Pennsylvania, Transcendental Pennsylvania, and the Pennsylvania Youth Congress that participate in our work group, and we're making monthly progress to protect all of our rights as LGBTQ citizens of Pennsylvania. Examples are that Pennsylvania Medicaid covers gender affirmation treatment in all of its aspects under the Department of Human Services. The Insurance Department has issued a statement for non-discrimination for insurance under its auspices. We work with the Department of Corrections. In the Department of Health, we have changed the birth control policy so that transgender individuals no longer need any type of surgery in order to change the gender on their birth certificates. We have made more expansive the HR policy for employees in transition, and we have a number of different work groups under the auspices of the Governor's Policy Office, one for transgender medical treatment, the other for data. One of them is meeting as we speak today. We continue to face challenges, however. With all the progress that we have made in Pittsburgh and in other cities in Pennsylvania, we still have to make progress. There is no statewide non-discrimination legislation in Pennsylvania. I am extremely fortunate that when I transitioned, I was at the Penn State College of Medicine, which had a non-discrimination policy, but you have to be aware in most places in Pennsylvania, if I transitioned as a physician, they could have fired me. In most places of Pennsylvania, if I go and ask to buy a house or rent an apartment, they could say, "Oh, I've seen you on TV. you're the transgender physician general, we're not going to sell you that house or rent you that apartment. And that absolutely has to change. Now, we have made progress, but we haven't made progress until we all make progress. And there are particular groups in our society, in our culture, and in our family that still have not made progress, that are very vulnerable. That includes LGBTQ youth, who remain vulnerable in some of our schools. That includes LGBTQ seniors who are vulnerable. In the current federal climate, LGBTQ immigrants, and particularly LGBTQ minorities and people of color are very vulnerable in our society, and we haven't made progress until we've all made progress. One particular group would be transgender women of color who are not just at risk for discrimination or harassment, but at risk of murder. And that is simply unacceptable in Pennsylvania and unacceptable throughout the nation. So, in summary, congratulations on this achievement. We still have more work to do. And to quote the esteemed Alexander Hamilton, or at least the musical, history has its eye on us. Thank you.
Not only do we have to have a progressive city government and state, we also have to have progressive leaders on the corporate level. So I'm really proud to introduce you to Greg Jordan. Greg is the general counsel of PNC Bank, and for the past 4 years, PNC has scored a 100%. Greg?
Hi, everybody. On behalf of all of my colleagues at PNC, we're really proud to be here today. We love our headquarters city. We have people and operations around the country, but this is our home, and we're more proud of our home today than ever before. 100% on the MEI is a really big deal. 100% on the Corporate Equality Index, which, as Corey said, we've scored 4 years in a row, is a really big deal for us. It's all about talent. To build the best bank in the country and have it headquartered right here, we need the best talent we can have. We need a city that's welcoming. We need a city that's open to all. We need a company that's open to all and welcoming so that we can recruit the best talent, have it be a safe place for everybody to develop their skills to the fullest of their potential. That's what we need as a company. That's what we're striving to do. We know diverse teams outperform non-diverse teams. They provide better customer service. They provide better returns for shareholders. So PNC is very proud of our city today. We're proud of our mayor, and we congratulate all the citizens of Pittsburgh on this. It'll be great for business, and we're proud to be up here. We know we need to keep that streak going because the city is there with us too. Thanks, everybody.
So we also partner with Equality Pennsylvania, who's doing a lot of great work on a statewide level. We're very fortunate that one of our local residents, and also she serves on the mayor's LGBTQIA+ advisory council. She is the board member for Equality Pennsylvania. Her name's Tricia, and she's been doing a lot of great work for us. I just want to personally thank her because she's really been keeping our advisory council intact. So I'd like to introduce you to Tricia Doherty.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tricia Doherty. I am the president of the Equality Pennsylvania Education Fund, and I'm a proud Pittsburgher. And I am a proud member of the mayor's LGBTQIA+ advisory council. And it's humbling to know that the recognition that the city of Pittsburgh is receiving today has been years in the making and has come from the work of countless people of conscience who've devoted their time and energy to advancing the rights of LGBTQ folks. At Equality Pennsylvania, we're incredibly thankful for our municipal partners who work hard to do right by LGBT people in the Commonwealth. We're especially proud of Pittsburgh for amplifying the voices of LGBTQ folks through engagement, like the Advisory Council, and through access to critical services like healthcare plans that cover transition-related care. At Equality Pennsylvania, we rely on the voices of people and politicians from Pittsburgh, as many of them are champions for equality and fairness, not just here in Pittsburgh, but also in Harrisburg on behalf of Pennsylvanians, and that is incredibly important. So Pittsburgh and Allegheny County were some of the first out of 44 municipalities to pass ordinances protecting LGBTQ people from discrimination. We were also the first to pass a conversion therapy ban as well. In this way, Pittsburgh is cementing itself as an LGBTQ inclusive city and as a model city for other municipalities in the Commonwealth and across the country. In a landscape where federal and state protections are non-existent and where new threats are appearing almost daily, municipalities are one of the few places where people can gain needed protections, such as protection from discrimination in housing, employment, and public accommodations. Municipalities are also able to put their values into action by writing inclusion into their policies, procedures, and benefits. The other municipalities that also received a 100% score quantify what folks across the country and across the Commonwealth want to experience. There's a landslide of people working in their own cities and towns to pass local non-discrimination ordinances, to create inclusive policies, and to protect their friends and neighbors from discrimination. Equality Pennsylvania is committed to continuing this work, and we look forward to seeing more municipalities joining Pittsburgh on this list in the years to come. And thank you so much for all of your hard work.
Thanks, Tricia. Last but not least, we have one of the most outspoken people in the city of Pittsburgh, and she's just amazing, and she holds me accountable in my position, which is the most important thing. Working with Ciora has been one of the greatest experiences on a personal level. I've had to learn that I need to listen to women more. I need to listen to trans women more. I need to listen to women of color more. And she is fighting so hard for these people. I mean, she's taking people home on an average basis, trans youth, people of color, when nobody else will. And our youth are getting kicked out day in, day out. They're getting kicked out by foster families who say they want to help kids, but in all reality, religion and their personal values always come into play first. And the reason why I made sure Ciora was up here to speak to you all today is so that you know that 100% doesn't mean anything. This is not where the fight ends at all. So she's up here to give you a few words, and she's going to give you all that reminder. Please listen to her, and please take her advice home with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Let me pull this up a little.
Pull it closer, too.
Yeah. All right, we're good. So I'd first like to thank those in our great city of Pittsburgh, residents, our mayor, William Peduto, thank you, and our wonderful LGBTQIA Advisory Council of Pittsburgh for the dedication and service needed to continue inclusively serving our community of Pittsburgh. It's truly an honor to work beside all of you and to work with our residents as well. I want to also thank Commander Holmes of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. Thank you for your dedication and hard work for bridging those intersectional gaps with our LGBTQIA communities. Thank you, the Name Change Project and Reed Smith and Associates for your work assisting our transgender community of Pittsburgh with legal name changes free of charge. Thank you, City Council, for your hard work and dedication to improving our city of Pittsburgh. And also, thank you to all the organizations in Pittsburgh serving our trans community with humility, doing the work. And last but not least, thank you all of our speakers here, and especially the Human Rights Campaign for your gracious rating and being here with us in Pittsburgh this afternoon. So let's give everyone a round of applause. So, as Corey graciously introduced me, I'm Ciora Thomas, an LGBTQIA Advisory Council member and a founder and president of Sisters PGH. Since 2013, Sisters PGH has been working towards providing shelter to our transgender and gender nonconforming communities with the ultimate goal of providing permanent affordable housing for our LGBTQIA communities in Western Pennsylvania. I'm a previously homeless trans woman of color who is determined to end the marginalization of our transgender community locally and nationally. Having a 100% rating is fantastic. We have been able to secure district policies protecting our children and college students. City Parks has introduced bathroom policies. The city provides health insurance to serve the needs of our transgender community, all while knowing there is still work to be done. As we celebrate these triumphant accomplishments, it is now the time we discuss and implement what needs to be done throughout the country. We must begin thinking about the steps of radical inclusion on all fronts for our LGBTQIA community. Within every intersection of people, and we are now at a pivotal position to do so. We must continue bringing awareness to Black and brown transgender people that are the most affected by homelessness, sex trafficking, murder, and exploitation. Within our LGBTQIA community, trans women of color sit at the very bottom of what we call at Sisters the marginalization tree, or MARG for short, which symbolizes the levels of marginalization we face daily. My population is navigating through a cisgender dominant society, which doesn't just exclude trans people, it actively fights not to include us. When we discuss inclusion, it is essential that we have every intersection of people at the table to make decisions that can end a system of oppression inclusively. This includes those who have lived experience of oppression. Only they can guide us to do the work that will allow our LGBTQIA community to become inclusive. We must invest our time and resources into organizations who are behind the scenes fighting for trans lives. But it's not just a physical investment. We need to invest in us, which requires patience, dignity, tolerance, and most importantly, the willingness to listen. When we think about serving our community, let's keep in mind serving our community to a point where our services are no longer needed, to a point of the destruction of a national marginalization, to a point of independence for those most affected by societal supremacies. We must continue building and improving relationships within leadership and community while diversifying leadership. Who makes decisions for our communities? We must broaden the scope of services and trainings. This is needed to better serve our communities, like the City Police's Crisis Intervention Training, SOGI training, and gender inclusivity training that have been implemented within our city. Knowing we have non-discrimination laws within our city provides a sense of relief. Sorry about that. I wanted you all to hear this. All right. Knowing we have non-discrimination laws within our city provides a sense of relief, but the bigger challenge is connecting trans people to safe, affirming, sustainable jobs. We also have to consider how background checks will affect people like a trans woman of color who have had little to no option when trying to survive. Many have resorted to escorting and prostitution and carry records on their backgrounds, so we have to think about that when we're including them in these workspaces. Offering health insurance within the workplace is another great accomplishment, but we need to make sure our trans community can access jobs locally and nationally to utilize the insurance. And at that moment, we will not only be the most livable city, but the most livable country. And that, my friends, are what we're doing, or what doing the work is all about. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out today. We will take questions a little bit later after the press conference. Again, I appreciate everybody who's out here, everybody who's helped to put this together, and everybody who's doing work on a citywide level. So thank you.
you.